everything is fine. You know, we live in a neighborhood where, sure, we wear cat masks and it's all weird and it's like there's this weird thing that can control us if we disagree with what other people say, and there's security cameras, but overall, like, it's a good life. You know, everything's fine. This is a comic on WEBTOON that has really captured my attention. It's fairly new, and part 2 just came out, and I gotta say, what the frick? It's freaking good. Okay, I'm not usually a fan of horror, but this concept, this setup, and the way it's done, it's not cheap horror. It's not just a cheap mystery. Like, every chapter, every panel is so intentional. It's so masterfully done. Like, the way it's presented in this webtoon style format is super interesting. It's a comic detailing everything I just described. It's pretty much where a bunch of people are, they don't tell you this, you have to figure it out yourself, and I'm not gonna spoil anything, but like, in the first episode, they're just all smiles and laughs under their masks, and it's a little freaking weird. And then later on, it's like there's other people, and it's bizarre. And it's implied that there's some kind of thing going on with the government, and these people have to go along with these lives, these fake lives, and these almost fake identities that they've started to live inside of. And the scary thing is, you can tell that at first, when they first must have started doing this, it must have been hard, but they've almost like adopted this new persona, and it's terrifying. I quickly realized that this is the kind of horror that I like. It's not just cheap horror, it's not just jump scares and gore. It's like deep psychological horror, and it's a thriller, and there's mysteries. Every time they answer a question, they pose 3 more. And at first I was a little worried that I wouldn't be able to bond with the characters as much because they're all wearing these cat mask things, and it's just a little hard because you can't see the emotion. But it actually elevated it for me, because you have to like guess what's going on behind the masks, and they have a system where you can determine which characters are which, the coloring of the words, the coloring of the masks and the clothes, and the personalities even. It becomes quite easy, and the characters are super interesting, and later on in part 2 especially, which is where the story currently is, they're introducing like so many, and it's like, it just makes this mystery even deeper because you can never know who to trust. And usually in like a comic on WEBTOON or manga even, or anime, it's like easier to determine trust because you can see the faces, you can see the movements. But in this comic, and everything is fine, everyone just acts the same. Everything is just fine. And that makes it almost impossible to figure out what's really going on and who's really on your side. I'm not gonna spoil anything, I'm just gonna be very bare bones here, but it gets to a point where people want to get out of this situation, and it's so cool. It's so cool because it's very creative in the way that it handles, like, okay, we're living in an area where there's security cameras and where everyone is wearing a mask, and we have police officers who are checking up on us constantly. Like, how do we do this? Like, what can you even do in this scenario? And there's all these terms, you know, like the neighbors want to go live in a new area, and it's like, what is this new area, right? Like, these neighborhoods are all organized like B147 and D612. It's like, it's so crazy weird. But it's all grounded as well. Like, the pacing is very steady. It doesn't speed up. The chapters are not super long or anything. So it gives it to you in bite-sized chunks that just makes you want to keep reading. And I'm hooked. I'm honestly hooked. I love the way the art style is depicted because it's a very cartoonish art style with the masks and the, you know, the body shapes and everything. It's just very, you know, it's very cartoony. But whenever it gets dark or serious, the art style changes. I'm not going to show anything on screen or describe it, but it is legitimately terrifying because it's almost like there's 2 art styles that are clashing, and you see one of them like 99% of the time. So when you do see the dark and serious art style, it's jarring. It's super jarring, and I freaking love it. This is the time to start reading if this does sound a little interesting to you, because again, the chapters, like, they are full of content, but they're not ridiculously long or anything. I caught up within just a couple hours. So if you want to catch up to Everything is Fine, this is the time. Part 2 just released. I'm reading this weekly. This is one of the ones I'm gonna keep talking about for sure. If you want to read Everything is Fine, the link is down below. I would love to hear your theories in the comments because, again, I don't want to spoil anything, but maybe I'll talk more about it in the comments because there's a lot to talk about. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Let me know what you think of the story. Thank you to WEBTOON for sponsoring this video. I mean, if at this point you know what Webtoon's all about, I want to mention one thing. My favorite thing about the mobile app is that I do a lot of flying, I do a lot of trips and stuff, visiting Amy and the like, and one of the things I like to do is download the app and download the chapters, because you can like download multiple chapters, and then if it's on airplane mode, you can just read comics on the plane. It's super cool. There's a lot you can do on the app, but that was one thing I wanted to let you know about that I found really interesting. So anyway, link is down below. With that being said, I'll see you in the next video. Have a good day. Take care.